Ladies and gents, we are here broadcasting live from the Scientology Community Centre here in Dublin, and this is the Stephen Leeson Show. Every week I'll be presenting some of the most talented singers and musicians from across Ireland as we go live across Facebook, YouTube and Instagram. Along with their incredible performances, you'll hear personal insights and backstories into their music and careers as we get up close and personal. So if you're in for a sing-along and a bit of crack, you're in good company. The only thing that we ask for is your online support, which means sharing, liking, commenting and tagging friends. Our act tonight were formed in 2007. They played 13 instruments between them and creating the unique sounds and atmosphere that they still showcase to this day. Their self-titled debut album reached #2 on the Billboard World Music Chart, setting the stage for the success they've enjoyed ever since. Since the inception of the band, they have toured Ireland, the United States and Europe almost annually. And 2021 saw the release of Home From Home, their brand new 11-track album. The band continues to set the bar extremely high for Irish folk bands across the world and are widely regarded to be at the forefront of the genre. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Finbarr Clancy, Darren Holden, Brian Dunphy and Paul O'Brien, the High Kings.
Hey everybody, we are indeed the High Kings. We're very happy to be here tonight on the Stephen Leeson Show. We're going to kick off with an old favourite and a song that we always start our shows with. This is The Rocky Road to Dublin.
Alright, ready boys? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, hop!
In the merry month of June, from me home I started up the girls and two and nearly broke, and I saluted Father dear. Kiss me darling, Father, drank a pint of beer, and grief and tears and smother, then after in the door, fever I was born, took the stuff I found to banish it close, and got a brand new pair of roads, rattling on the bus, rattling on the downs, on the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up the game and further down the rocky road, all the way to Dublin, whack the lovely ride. In Mullingar at night I rested limbs so weary, started by daylight, me spirits bright and airy, tongue a drop of the pure. Keep me heart from sinking, that's the paddy's cure. Whenever he's on for drink, see the lassie smile, laughing all the while. Have me curious dance would set your heart above in the nest if I was high. Wages I required till I was nearly tired. Down the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put the hair and turn her down the rocky road, all the way to Dublin, whack for lolly ram. In Dublin next to ride, I thought that such a pity to be so soon deprived of feet of Dublin City, but then I took control. Oh, the wonder quality bundle, it was stolen in the need no cabin. Something crossed me mind when I left behind no bundle could I find upon me steam go up. Firing for the road, set me comic road, wasn't much in vogue on the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up the here and turn her down the rocky road, all the way to Dublin, back for lonely ground. From there I kept away, me spirits never feeling, landed on the key just as the ship was sailing. The captain at me road said that no remedy when they took aboard a cabin for cabby. Down among the pace, paint some bonny rags, dance some hearty jigs, the water round me bubbling. When I'm falling in, I wish myself was dead, I better far and say on the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put the hair and turn her down the rocky road, all the way to Dublin, whack for lolly ride. The boys at Liverpool, when we safely landed, called myself a fool. I could no longer stand it, blood began to boil. Tipper I was losing poor old Aaron's eye. They began abusing our lamb and sauces, I'm a shillelagh, Isle of Light. Torrid vines were nigh, and so I was a hobbling with a loud array. Join in the affray, will it clear the way? On the rocky road to Dublin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up the here and turn her down the rocky road, all the way to Dublin, whack for lolly round. Up the here and turn her down the rocky road, all the way to Dublin, whack for lolly round. Whack for lolly round, whack for lolly round. Yeah.
Don't go anywhere, we're just getting started here. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4.
Step gaily and we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm and row up and down this way. Step gaily and we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm and row up and down this way. Oh, who is up and down, north and green and black and brown, on the shield through the town of the city. Step gaily and we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm and row up and down this way. Red cheeks and flowing tire, bright around the steady sky. There's nothing on my fire, it's a down my step gaily and we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm and row up and down this way. Step gaily and we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm and row up and down this way. Plenty body finds as well as the toast from Paris. Step gaily and we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm and row up on Paris way. Moving hill ways up and down, Murtha green and bracken brown, past the Sheila's through the town of Forsago Mary. Over hill ways up and down, Murtha green and bracken brown, past the Sheila's through the town of Forsago Mary. Over hill ways up and down, Murtha green and bracken brown, and past the Sheila's through the town of Forsago Mary. Yeah, step gaily and we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm and row up and down this way. Step gaily and we go, heel for heel and toe for toe, arm in arm and row up on Mary's way. All right. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. It's been a while. Too long. We're absolutely honoured to be playing for you tonight. This is incredible. The sunshine gods have brought down a beautiful bit of sunshine on Dublin today and over the last week. So there's a lot of smiles on the Irish people's faces, which is fantastic. So I hope we're putting some smiles on your faces with a few of these songs. And this one is from Dublin, my hometown. Darling, see the you should see the Spanish lady watching in the light. First she watched them, then she drive over fire and the coal. All my life I never see a maid so fierce inside a room. For the tooraloo, laddie, back for the tooraloo, for the tooraloo, laddie, back for the tooraloo, for the tooraloo, laddie, back for the tooraloo, back for the tooraloo, laddie, back for the tooraloo. He got the honor of prophecy. You should have seen the Spanish lady brushing her hair in the broad daylight. First she tossed it, then she brushed it. On her lap was a silver comb. All my life I never see a man so fierce and sailing room. Whack for the tooraloo, run laddie, whack for the tooraloo, run day. Whack for the tooraloo, run laddie, whack for the tooraloo, run day. Whack for the tooraloo, run laddie, whack for the tooraloo, run day. Whack for the tooraloo, run laddie, whack for the tooraloo, run day. Dublin city as the sun began to set. She described the Spanish lady catching a moth in the golden light. When she saw me, then she fled, lifting her petticoat over her knee. All my life I never see you made so face inside it roam. Whack for the tooraloo, laddie, whack for the tooraloo, for the tooraloo, laddie, whack for the tooraloo, for the tooraloo, laddie, whack for the tooraloo, whack for the tooraloo, laddie, whack for the. Let's see you sing, come on. Whack for the tooraloo, laddie, whack for the tooraloo, whack for the tooraloo, laddie, whack for the tooraloo, whack for the tooraloo, laddie, whack for the tooraloo, whack for the tooraloo, laddie. All right, here we sit down. Paul O'Brien on the whistle.
There you go. Fantastic.
Virtual hand clapping.
And Brian Dunphy on the voice. Fantastic. Absolutely beautiful. Well, we're going to do an old favourite. It always goes down a storm. When we play it, people love singing this song, dancing around, clapping to it, tapping their feet, whatever it needs be. It tells a story of a very famous ship called the Irish Rover.
In the year of our Lord, 1806, we set sail from the cold Bay of Cork. We were sailing away with a cargo of bricks for the grand city hall of New York. With an elegant craft, she was rigged for it now. And oh, how the wild winds drove her. She had 27 masts and withstood several blasts, and they called her the Irish Rover. Hey! Hey! There was Barney McGee from the banks of the Lee. There was Hogan from County Tyrone. There was Johnny McGirt, who was scarcely above work, and a chaperone at speed all below. When it's slugger of Tool, who was drunk as a rule, and fighting Bill Tracy from Dover. And German Mick McGann from the banks of the Bann was the skipper of the Irish Rover. Hey! Hey! Well, we had 5 million flags on the mast like eagle rags. We had 6 million barrels of store. We had 7 million bales of all land eagle tails. We had 8 million barrels of bone. Well, we had 9 million hogs, 10 million dogs, 11 million barrels of porter. We had 12 million sides of all the light horses' hides in the hold of the Irish Rover. We had sailed 7 years when the measles broke out and the ship lost her way in a fog. And the whole of the crew was reduced down to 2, plus myself and the captain's old dog. Well, the ship struck a rock. Lord, what a shock. The boat, she turned right over. She turned 9 times around, and the poor old dog was drowned. 1, 2, 3. Ah! On the Irish Rover.
Well, we certainly hope you're enjoying yourself, singing and clapping along and having the fun, having the crack, as we say in Ireland, with these songs. We're going to take a little break after this next song to have a little chat with Stephen. But this is probably the most requested Irish folk song. No matter where we go around the world, people are always asking for this song. And I won't give an introduction, I'm just going to go and sing it.
Here's Cap. I first produced me pistol and then produced me rapier. Let's stand and deliver, for you are the bell deceiver. Mushering, da-da-do-da-da-da. Whack full the daddy-o, whack full the daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. I took on all this money and it was a pretty penny. I put it in the pocket and I brought it home to Jenny. She said and she swore that she never would deceive me. But the devil turned out when I thought they never can be easy. Mushering, da-da-do-da-da-da. Whack full the daddy-o, whack full the daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. I dreamt of golden jewels and but sure it was no wonder. Jenny drew me charges and she filled them up with water. Sent me Captain Farrell to be ready for the slaughter. Mushering, da-da-do-da-da-da. Whack full the daddy-o, whack full the daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh yeah. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. 'Twas early in the morning before he rose to travel. Up from the band of footmen, right where's Captain Farrell. When he first produced my pistol, she stole away my rapier, but he couldn't shoot the water, so a prisoner I was taken. Mushering, da-da-do-da-da-da. Whack full the daddy-o, whack full the daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. I'm mushering, da-da-do-da-da-da. Whack full the daddy-o, whack full the daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. If anyone can aid me, it's me brother in the army. And if I could find a station in Cork or in Killarney, and if you'd go with me, we'd go early through Kilkenny. And I'm sure he'd treat me better than me down at Sporting Jenny. I'm sure in da-da-do-da-da-da. Whack full the daddy-o, whack full the daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. I'm sure in da-da-do-da-da-da. Whack full the daddy-o, whack full the daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. I'm sure in da-da-do-da-da-da. Whack full the daddy-o, whack full the daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. Oh, yeah.
What about it, folks? Absolutely, the place is, it feels like it's hopping to hear that music. It's just bouncing. I'm trying to clap my hands, so is all the staff here. I'm following these guys years. The last time I saw them was about, I think it was 10 years ago I saw them over in Holland. So this is my second time officially seeing them live. And I was absolutely delighted when they accepted the invitation to come along here to play. And normally, because of restrictions and stuff like that, I've only been kind of able to interview one person at a time. But I got an email back to say, can you interview the four of them? So lads, now I feel like I'm being ganged up on. These are very, absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. Right up my street. Love what yous are doing. It's the arrangements of the songs is great for me, being a supporter of Irish folk music. Like, you know, who's coming up with the arrangement of songs, or is it just a combined thing? You're
I don't know.
taking claim to it all.
We all do. And when we decide on doing a song, we actually sit down just like this. And we play the song, and then we all come up with ideas and fresh approaches to the song. I mean, we try to stay as true as possible to the older versions, but we have to give it the High King stamp as well. And it's just a thing now. It just happens with us even thinking about it. Like, if it's a song with loads of possible potential harmonies, it just seems to click and fit now, and we don't have to think about it too much anymore. I think the blend within this these four people is just, it's natural now more than it ever was.
Oh, it's something else, and I know it's actually yourself, Dan. You're on piano now. The last time I saw you on piano accordion, you were playing like now, so be able to take the advantage of a piano like that being on the stage. I suppose
that was the whole thing. You know, I knew the piano was going to be here, so I called the lads earlier and said, "Look, will we make use of it?" And everybody loves the piano as well, and it gives that extra oomph to the whole thing. You know, it's nice. Another dimension. You know?
Yeah, definitely. When was the last time you had an interview with the four of you together? Because I think I'm privileged I really am to have the four of you together for an interview.
Last year, probably last March when we were on tour over in America.
Last March, okay. Because
we made it 20 shows through 40. There was 40 shows altogether. We got as far as number 20 in Alexandria, Virginia, and that's probably the last time that we sat down and the four of us had a proper chat. You know, so it's long overdue. But we hope to head back to the States as soon as possible as well, and pick up where we left off.
I'm assuming, like many other bands, you got stuck over there.
Yeah, we were in the middle of a 40-day tour that we were going to do in 50 days. And it was a bit savage for us, but we got stuck in. You know, it was great. It was great fun. And then we were watching everything on CNN like everybody else was. And at the time over in America, and we didn't realize, you know, how this was going to affect everybody's lives and affect the world. And, you know, we made a decision eventually. Thankfully, we were one of the bands that got through halfway our tour. So we did 20 shows out of the 40 and decided that we needed to come home. So, yeah, I mean, the rest of those shows that we're going to do, you know, hopefully we're going to do them again soon. So that's kind of the plan. As I said, we were one of the look at the Irish bands that came over, one of the lucky ones, because a lot of them had just come over within a couple of days and had to just literally turn on their heels and come back to Ireland. Yeah. So, yeah, we were lucky to get out. 15th, wasn't it? 15th we came home.
We didn't realise it was a serious, actually. We didn't realise it was a serious. And then we were looking at the news and, God, this is getting serious. We're going to have to, you know, we're going to have to move on, get out of here. And we're lucky to get out, to be honest with you, you know, because they were closing down on airports and, you know, so we were lucky to get out.
It was just before Paddy's Day, wasn't it? So you probably remember exactly what day it is. Did you get home just before than yourselves? 15th, was it? 15th, yeah. 15th, like so many unbelievable. And you've been doing a couple of online gigs. I was talking to you earlier, you were saying. You've played Paddy's Day this year. You did it online as well. It's a totally different experience doing the online thing, isn't it, without the audience? But the atmosphere even here today, I know you're doing it online obviously today, like, you know, but it's like it's privilege, as I say, for me to be able to hear how are you finding doing the online things, like, you know?
Well, I think it's a case of just getting stuck into it. I mean, it was a totally new experience for us, but we realized, like every other artist around the world, that, you know, we can't have audiences for the foreseeable future, or at that time anyway, for the foreseeable future. But it was just a case of getting stuck in, just having a little huddle beforehand, going, right, let's just do this. And, you know, we are still together. We are still the High Kings. We are still doing our thing. And just, you know, the reach has to be a bit stronger, you know, in order to take what we do on stage. And usually you see an audience in front of you that are getting into it and clapping and standing up or whatever. So you just have to sort of really go the extra mile to make sure that they're doing that at home as well.
Exactly what you're doing. You're telling everyone to sing along, and hopefully they have it all watching on their tellies, and they turn up on I use a Bluetooth thing at home when I'm watching the online gigs, just to get the good sound or whatever, that, you know. And that's why I always encourage folks, if you're listening, if you have a device, and get the sound up to hear it, because, like, you know, if you hear it just real sound. How long does a tour typically last, which is, lads, when you're going? You said 20. 20. You said you were doing halfway through. You were going to do 40 then. Was
40
it
shows, and we got 20 done.
20. How many
time?
How many months or does it take to do 40 shows typically, or
Depends where we are. I mean, if we go over to America, oftentimes we'll go over for 6 weeks. You know, I think we've probably been there for, what was the most?
That was an 8 week.
That was an 8 week.
An 8 week. I mean, 8 weeks. I mean, there you go. In Ireland, it's maybe 2 months, I suppose, but it's kind of, you know, it's a much smaller country than America, so you're getting to sleep in your own bed a lot, and you're off during the week, you know, whereas there's probably a lot more shows in America because you're over there, so you might as well play while you're there. But yeah, I'd say probably, I suppose the shortest tour would probably be 2-3 weeks, maybe, possibly, if we're going over to Holland or Germany, maybe, the UK. And we're looking forward to heading back to all those places again.
When you say small tours, I was looking up, I have it written down here for myself to remember as well, like 35 shows you do sometimes in Ireland. Would that be all in
That's
over
just
the
a small tour for us. I mean, that's only warming up.
But 35 shows in Ireland compared to your 40 in America, it's pretty good to be playing 35 venues in Ireland. I didn't even know that many venues existed for a band that are as big as you to...
We play a lot of them twice.
Right, we do. We get it right the second time.
That was a very good answer. Like, do you take? I remember like years ago, I used to play with a band called the Dublin City Ramblers. You probably met them on your way as well, like, you know. But obviously, kind of more old school. But I remember they used to play. We always used to take September off when we were doing the tour, and that was the way things. But do you take it typically every year? Take a month off, or does it just randomly happen all over the place? Or
probably June, probably
June
or
July
or June. Yeah.
On a normal year, June, we'd probably go away on holidays and just come back then in July, regroup and kick it off again. But yeah, June was always, since we started, the month for, you know, booking the old halls and going off and forgetting about the band for a minute. Like, although we all contact each other anyway when we're on holidays, you know.
It's the back garden this year.
Right, yeah. So June is normally the time not to bother you. We're after bothering you because it's June now, isn't it?
No, it's usually like it ran in with school, usually with the kids, you know. So you know they'd be finished.
Finishing up.
So
and
once
stuff
they're
like
done, go, because then we'd usually head back to America then July and August and do another 6 or 7 weeks and then come back in September.
Right.
That was kind of our plan. Then it would usually be Germany in October, and November would usually be the UK, and then we'd run into Irish shows for 2 months, back to America till April, do another Irish tour for 2 months, and then take June off again. So that was our norm. Like 2020 was going to be our biggest year. We were already starting pretty good, getting into 20 shows of 40, and then the rest of the year was looking fantastic. Into actually 22 was looking fantastic, and then, as we know, something happened. So yeah.
Can I go right back to when you started, which was 2007? Is that right? Like, you know.
Funnily enough, it's exactly 14 years today.
You're joking.
The official start of the band was June 4, 2007.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, wow, that he's so scary that he remembers that.
I'm a weirdo with dates, I really am. You know?
See, you're obviously keeping tabs on all the guys all the time.
I can't remember my own anniversary, but I remember everything about the band.
Oh, you can get yourself in trouble there at home if you're not remembering something, a birthday or something, an anniversary, to say. So I know the lineup has changed slightly, only with one member over the years, even since when I saw you, like, you know. But when you first started off doing gigs, were you starting off in Ireland? Because I don't actually know where you were playing at when you first started off.
We actually started in America.
Did you?
And that's where we were meant to, that was when we were putting it together, we predominantly wanted the American market, and our management at the time did as well. But news started to come back to Ireland and the UK of what we were doing. I mean, we thought it might take 6 weeks for the album to break in America. It actually broke into #2 in Billboard after 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then we ended up on every television show, like all the Good Morning America and all that. And it took off really, really fast. And we were even sort of pinching each other, looking at each other going, this is nuts. And then suddenly we got the calls from Ireland, from RTE and from all the radio and papers to come back and do interviews. And then we kind of thought, well, maybe we've a shot over here as well, you know, because it had been a while since a ballad group had come at sort of that level of media attention, you know, and we just took it off and we put out a tour and it sold out really, really quickly. And it sort of took off from there, really, and spread into Germany and the UK and places like Belgium and further afield. Yeah, so we were lucky.
I've often heard people actually saying that you nearly need to make it abroad before you can make it in Ireland, with the struggle to try and get noticed in Ireland, I suppose. So that's kind of the way you actually did it.
Yeah, I think that was the way we did it, you know, and of course with the power of YouTube was kind of kicking off at that point as well. So people had more access. I mean, if they heard about us on the radio or read about us, they could just go on and see, well, what's this all about, you know? And a lot of the fans of folk music actually came on board very, very quickly. And by the second album, we'd won all the others who didn't like us at the start over, you know what I mean? Because Memory Lane was a really big record for us, and that tour, that particular Irish tour, was off the scale. It was like we kind of knew then that we were going to do okay at home as well as abroad.
It's kicking off.
Because see, we were very lucky. Just to add to that, we were very lucky because we did the CD and the DVD at the same time.
That was actually my next question about it.
Yeah, and that really helped us, especially over in America with public broadcasting stations and all that. And they, as you know, they go across America, and without them, we really wouldn't have been known. And it was fantastic. We had a great time on that tour, and that was a promo tour. But without the DVD, we certainly wouldn't have been seen by so many at that time. So it was great. And I think that's where the attention came back to Ireland again, because we never thought when we put the band together that we'd actually start gigging in Ireland. And then after a few months, it was great to come back and do it.
Were you all living in America at the time when you were doing that, or was you just traveling over to get the band going then?
Traveling over and back. I had been living there for about 8 years, and I came back then to kick off this, and then we were over and back quite a lot, weren't we?
We were, yeah. I was living over in America as well. I was living over in Boston for almost 5 years, and I just moved home. Not even a year before I got the call.
And then you're back again.
Yeah. Said back again. I won't even bother unpacking the suitcase. Which is great.
When you were starting off as such, like, because I think one of the first DVDs that I even saw of you playing, like, you had a big sound behind us as well, because sometimes you weren't playing instruments yourselves as well. Was that what you were bringing on the road, or were you just going on the road yourselves as such, like, just out of interest?
Well, we had all of the big crew on the road, and there was probably three, I think it was three. As the Americans say, tractor trailers or trucks on the road, and we had a big crew, and we had carpenters, electricians, we had loads and loads of people. And then we just found that if we scaled back, all we really needed was just the four of us with our instruments, just doing the same thing, had the same effect. You know what I mean? It didn't have to be as big a production. It's good to have the big production, but it's also nice to be able to scale it back and get back to what the music is really about, which is stories, great stories of Irish history, and that's what people just can't get enough of. So we just said, why don't we just try this for a while and see how it goes, and we haven't looked back.
100%. Even when I first saw you, as I say, it was about 10, 11 years ago, and I saw you in Holland, I didn't know what to expect, what was coming from it, because that's all I had visualised as such when I seen it on the YouTube that we were talking about. Like, I was well impressed, I have to say. Like, seriously, like, it was the sound that you put across, like, and it's just improved something else. Like, obviously over years you're getting tighter and tighter. Brian, yeah, sorry, can I get you just a bit about your dad was in the show bands and that, like, what's it like growing up in the show band's house?
Yeah, a lot of fun actually. It was great to kind of go. Dad was Sean Dunphy, he was in the Eurovision Song Contest in 1967, came second with a song called If I Could Choose, and it was kind of cool having a famous dad too. Every time you go to school and the teachers knew him and everything, and even when he was on the late and you'd be so proud, you go into school and say, "Oh, my dad's on TV tonight," and he was an absolute gentleman, and everybody I met ever since, always said he was an incredible singer and a wonderful musician and a wonderful man, and he loved the band and loved the lads so much. He's gone 10 years now. Just his anniversary was a couple of weeks ago, but it was just wonderful to be introduced to his music and all his friends and his musician friends at the time as well. We had some great parties in the house that I can't tell you stories about. Unfortunately, they're for the book in a few years' time. But he gave me such encouragement as well. Through his, I suppose, his musicianship and his craftsmanship as a performer. It was great. It really was. It was lovely to be brought up with that. And again, as I said, he introduced me to so much types of different music, and it was nice. It was lovely.
Was there a song he's recorded recently? Did you write a song about your dad?
Darren wrote a beautiful song called "Sing You Home Again" about Dad, and it had all his little quips. It's gorgeous. You can see it on YouTube. But Darren wrote it on a plane. We were flying from somewhere to somewhere in America. Darren probably knows exactly the time and date that he wrote it. There you go. Use your mic.
13th of June, we were flying from San Francisco to Chicago. I was in C27A.
No.
Because I wrote it on the back of a plane ticket, on the actual seat ticket. Yeah.
He did, yeah. He wrote it and it's in fairness, well, not in fairness, but it sat there for 9 years. That song.
That song sat there for 9 years before you.
Before we ever did anything. And look, there's that and another ton of songs that we've all done that have just kind of sat around and. Need to kind of get out there and be heard. But this one in particular was lovely, and it was lovely to do, and hopefully we'll do it again.
Yeah, very
as the band.
Sentimental, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it difficult to write a song and to be able to have the courage to give to?
Well, I did have to think about it because it wasn't long after Sean passed. It was probably in and around a month or less, and I wrote it, and it just started. I was looking out the window of the plane, and just all this stuff started coming to me, like he loved John Wayne, so there was a mention of John Wayne, and they used to impersonate him at parties just for the laugh,
Right.
And what's the line? Give anything to to see you or hear you do your best John Wayne. And it was one of those songs where the lines kept coming and coming and coming. But I had to think about it. Yeah, I had to think it for a second. It was too soon. It was too raw. But thankfully, Brian, liked it and took it away with him. And we started.
You're singing it now yourself.
Yeah, it was perfect to do it when, during lockdown, we did a nice little video together and just put it up and people loved it. Yeah. So it's nice way to remember.
I thought it was lovely.
Thank you.
Brian, I'm just going to stay on you for a minute. I'm going to try and get to everyone just individually, if you don't mind, just to get a little bit. I was just reading the little bits about everybody as well, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Why?
Maybe I should have asked your permission to bring it up beforehand, but I didn't.
I have lovely legs. No, we're not going there. Are we
We're not going there. Okay.
Absolutely, I can tell everybody my life story. There's no problem. I was doing a show called Aspects of Love. Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote it, and at the same time, the same director was doing Rocky Horror Show. So we were doing an 8:00 Aspects of Love show in the Olympia Theatre in Dublin, and then at midnight we'd start the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and literally there was a kind of a pre-party show, and then we'd kick off the show at 12:30, so 12:30 a.m. and the show would run till about 2:45 a.m. It was absolute mayhem, and I've never seen anything like it since. It was just everyone came in after 12 o'clock, and just the party was unbelievable for a 2.5 hour show, and the audience just went nuts for the show. It's such a big, it's a cult, isn't it?
I used to live just around the corner from Harold's Cross years ago, and the old cinema, I don't think it's there anymore, but the queues just to get into to see the cinema show of the Rocky Horror Show. That's so I can't imagine that.
I was
something else
18 at the time. I was like, this is one of my first shows. I was like, I'm not doing that show again. That was a new experience for me. But I'd do it again in a heartbeat. To do it, it was great fun.
You were a lead singer in Riverdance as well, is that right?
Myself and Darren did lead in Riverdance for a good few years. I was in it for nearly 6 years. Darren and I lived in Broadway in New York for 2 years together.
You worked together before the High Kings then? I didn't know that then. Okay,
and went from there to the Three Irish Tenors and then joined the High Kings. Yeah, so it's been, music business has been very good to me. So I've been very lucky.
Darren Finbarr done liver dance.
Liver dance, yeah.
Top of the creator.
Just while we're at yourself as well there, I seen a post you put up on Facebook there a couple of weeks ago. The Eurovision Song Contest, you had entered that with a song years ago.
Yeah, Euro Song, actually, the song for Ireland. A couple of times I entered that and came second both times, You
were keeping that quiet, were you?
No, well, kind of. 94 and 97, I like watching Eurovision. I loved it again this year, It's like, it's good entertainment, and it's a different competition now than when I was entering it. Back in the day, it was really, really about the song and the craft. Now, I
agree. It's gone totally different direction,
and it's different. Yeah.
Let me see. What else have I got? Boyzone. I didn't know you played with Boyzone as well. I'm sorry, lads. I'm digging up all the history, but I was amazed because I just didn't know myself.
This is perfect. Wow. Keep embarrassing him. Bring it on. Although they're absolutely.
Funny, before I answer that, Brian and I made the very smart decision, both of us. We both said no to Boyzone. We were both asked to join, and we were like, nah, that'll never happen.
So you were asked to join them, and then you played alongside them. Is that what it was?
Well, I ended up touring with them for a year and a half in the UK and Europe. So basically, I would do a half an hour slot before they would come on. And we did Smash Hits tours and all that kind of stuff. And it was great fun. Again, it was a different ball game entirely to, it was another genre of music again to add to the list. That I've done. I've only got Russian polkas left.
You've only got Russian polkas left.
The ever-growing list of genres.
Great crack.
Look, I'm from Tallaght, and I remember when I was growing up, a kid as well, when Boyzone started, in and around the square. I think they were doing a concert, and the place was bedlam. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, we played the basketball arena on that tour. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. It was just interesting to know.
Yeah.
And Finbarr, just to get to, what about yourself then, growing up in the family, another family that I would have loved to growing up with, the songs and the history, and tell us a bit about your own.
Well, it's the same as much the same as what Brian was saying about his dad, and there was music constantly around the house. My dad was in the Clancy brothers for 27 years or something like that. Played the banjo with them, and every night after he had his dinner, he'd go up and you'd hear the banjo. He played music every single day, and then on the weekends he'd go off to the local country pubs and have a session. Myself and his few friends, I was like, do you not get sick of it? But he loved it. He really did. And I went up when when I was about 10 years old, I kind of got curious, and I said to my mum, I said, God, you know, he's up there for ages. And she goes, why don't you go up and stick your head in and see where he's at? And I stuck my head in anyway, and he said, why don't you sit down? And before I knew it, he'd bought me a he had actually had it anyway, and just gave me a banjo, and I started playing the banjo. My first instrument was a 5-string banjo, and I went from there then to guitar, and I went through that whole phase of I was in a rock band. I had the long hair. I know it's hard to believe now, but I did actually have long hair, and was in a rock band playing the bass and doing all that kind of thing. But came full circle. I always loved the ballads, always loved the folk music, and I had the opportunity to perform with them for few years until my dad passed away in 2002. From about 1995 onwards, I played with the Clancy brothers, and it was just an experience. The stagecraft, like Brian was saying, you just picked up the effect that they could have on an audience, and the effect a song well delivered can have on an audience. It just really opened my eyes, and I've been trying to do it since, you know.
But the stories and that I always like, and in terms of watch the Clancy and that, like, you know, and were you into acting as well a bit as well, like with the telling the stories and the? I was
not so much. Well, I joined the local. I grew up in Carrick and Shore, actually in the same house they were all brought up in, was the house, and I joined the Brewery Lane theatre. My mother was very involved in the theatre, and I was in a couple of amateur productions, but I was never as long on stage. I was always nervous because I was only on for a minute. I'd have a small part, and I was just so nervous that I never got to be not nervous on stage during plays, and I was like, oh, here, you know, forget it. Whereas funnily enough, when you start singing, and it's the same thing, the lads will tell you, it's always maybe the first song you're kind of a little bit jittery, and then you kind of settle into it, and then you relax and you enjoy it. But I never got to be on stage long enough in acting to do that. But
yes, you went as far as turning and doing the Milwaukee Festival as well. That's one of the biggest festivals, or that is the biggest Irish festival, if I'm right, in America. And you did that with the Clancys.
I did it with the Clancys, and I did it with my dad, and it was actually called the Clancy Reunion Concert. My father, my sister, my uncle Liam, my cousin Robbie O'Connell, and my cousin Donald Clancy, who's Liam's son, got to do the Clancy Reunion Concert in 1999. And I'd been hearing about the Milwaukee Irish Festival. My dad says, if you make it to Milwaukee, you've made it, because that's the biggie. It's the biggest Irish festival in the world. They get 120, 130,000 people. You know, it's a massive, massive. And I was telling the lads about this Milwaukee Festival since we got together, and I said, lads, if we ever make it to Milwaukee, you know, wait and you see it, you know. And we've played it loads of times.
I was just going to say, how many times have you done it since then?
What, 5, 6 times? I don't know. Every year nearly, you know, and it is an amazing festival, and it is an amazing experience. And Paul has to yet to make it there with us, but you'll love it. It's a great festival. Yeah.
I have to apologise. I didn't find any maybe embarrassing history about yourself.
No, I didn't do. I've never done anything, Stephen, embarrassing ever. That's
what we're here for. So, shoot.
We're to Paul now.
Paul, you're the newest member of the band, and you're part of one of the albums. Am I right?
Yeah.
Or is this be your first one?
album? Yeah.
Good man. Hey.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
How did you end up at the High Kings yourself? Because I don't know as much about. I don't know no embarrassing stuff about yourself either. As well,
Thank God for that.
Give us a bit of history about yourself growing up, or whatever, or your background.
My dad would have been musical. He would have played. He was a drummer in a Cayley band, as was I years ago as well, just tipping our way. He would have played the Boweron. He was a fantastic spoon player as well. So basically, when I was growing up, my friends would have been listening to Whitesnake and Tin Lizzy, and I was listening to Foster and Allen on a cassette, learning the tin whistle to country tunes, and that's how I learned the tin whistle, playing along to Foster and Allen, believe it or not.
And you sing as well, because that's the advantage that you have. I was saying to some of these earlier, it's great that you all sing. I seen some Facebook posts of it. What did I write down? Barleycorn. You're obviously a fan of Barleycorn. I've seen you sing Kilfin or whatever.
Yeah, I always thought Derek McCormick was a fantastic ballad singer. Just loved his voice.
Couldn't agree more. How did you end up joining the band then? Like, how did you get things?
Martin left, and Darren got in contact with me because of the whistles. Obviously, Martin was a fantastic musician, but if you listen to a hiking song, there's nearly a whistle in every song, the whistle sound in every song. So Martin left, whistles left, and it was just the three boys for a long time. Darren got in contact with me, and I never looked back since.
Mm-hmm. And how long
whistles came back, and
how long are you with the band?
2019.
2019, okay. And tell us a little bit about the album, because was one of you saying that it was a live album, but live without an audience, or?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say he's being rather modest. He has absolutely re-energized this band.
This is what I want.
He came in at exactly the right time. I mean, he's just brought a whole other level. of musicianship, and he has us absolutely on our toes 24/7 now. I mean, this guy, if you invented something, he could play it next week. You know, he's that good. So he just doesn't like to say these things because he's too nice, but I'll say it for him. So yeah, we're very, very happy that he's with us, and
delighted.
Long may it last. But yeah, we decided that because we couldn't tour last year, we were going to do the next best thing and pick a bunch of songs from around the world. Like say Chicago and New York and Dublin and London, and find the best songs about them and put together a live album without an audience, let's say. So each song on the album is 11 songs, isn't there? And
11 songs,
we recorded it over 2 days, one take. We shot videos at the same time, and it's done really, really well for us. It was released on March 5th, and it's absolutely flying, you know. So it's kind of made us rethink how we do albums now, because it just came together so fast, and we're very, very happy with it.
But you were saying it's properly done live. It's not done like 3 takes of the live song put together. You did it actually live, so you did like 6 songs one day and 6 or 5
exactly that.
five
Exactly
the other
that.
day,
Yeah, and we loved it. It was a great experience, wasn't it?
It was a fantastic experience. Yeah, it was really good.
The atmosphere, I'd say, when you join the band, because even with just watching his practicing sound checking tonight, like, you know, the atmosphere must have been great for you joining a band like that.
Absolutely. I remember the first gig. I think it was in Mayo, actually, at the Castlecourt Hotel. That was my first gig. I think it was the 11th of July 2019, and I was just walking out. It's just amazing, you know. Especially when you have the drone going, and you know, this is it. This is my first gig, and this is for real. You know, no turning back. So no, it's actually been absolutely fantastic. And then every gig you do, you just get stronger and stronger because you know what you're doing.
There's no practice like live practice
on the stage floor. You know, I can get rid of that note tonight.
He was so dedicated, though. He kept practicing and practicing. I remember the morning after that first show.
What was the whistle? What was the whistle?
At 6 o'clock in the morning, I could hear him playing, and I'm like, I was like texting lads, he has to go. Sorry.
He's too dedicated.
Fine line.
No better way to learn than a live gig, though, I suppose. Anyway, like, you know. Tell us a bit more about the album. What songs are on the album?
Well, Brian does City of Chicago. I do Summer in Dublin. Finbarr has the Dutchman.
Fields of France.
Paul does a beautiful version of Caledonia, Farewell to Nova Scotia. What's the other songs?
Wild Colonial Boy.
Wild Colonial Boy,
Green
Fields of France, Galway Races. Carrick Fergus.
Yeah. Some of them we had done live before. We'd never done a recording of any description. So there was probably 2 or 3 like that. And then the rest were songs that we wouldn't have done at all. Like Streets of London was a song we talked about for years and never got around to it at all. Summer in Dublin was another one that we loved, but we didn't ever get around to that. And it was just the timing of that was kind of poignant, because with Liam Riley passing away, it was sort of, we felt it was the right thing to do and put that on there as a kind of a tribute to Liam and his genius. And the Streets of New York is also on there as well. So there's 2 of his.
Right. And you on the album you also had, did you say you collaborated with Brian Kennedy on one of the songs as well? Is that?
That had been a long time coming. Brian Kennedy had worked with both of us in New York 20 years ago in Riverdance as well. Wow. So we had been trying to get something together with him for a long, long time. And again, because of lockdown, everybody was around the Dublin area and doing nothing. So we just said, look, would you like to come on? And he was like, absolutely, yeah. So we shared the song out. Everybody sings on Carrick Ferguson. It's the harmonies are there. It's just a lovely, lovely version of it. Very poignant as well. Yeah.
20 years later, you got
20 years later.
long time going.
It just flies though as well. You know.
Who's singing the Dutchman? Are you singing the Dutchman? That's my mother's favorite song, all-time favorite song.
Like, you know, it's a great song.
It's a fantastic version of it as well.
Thank you.
Would it be possible to persuade us to get to play another couple of songs, off the album?
Could I just say a big thank you to all our fans, because it's just been unbelievable over the last 14 months, the messages and the comments and the support that's not only come into each of us individually from across the world, but, you know, into our management team as well. Our management team have been incredible over the last 14 months. And, you know, it was hard for everybody to keep things going and wondering what was going to happen. But we just want to say a huge, huge thank you to everybody who supported us over the last. And we'd like to say to everybody, we just can't wait. And looking forward to seeing everybody again, and hope everybody's doing okay out there, because it's been hard for everybody. But we're on the way back. Everybody's on the way back. So
we're coming to see you.
Yeah, and thank you to you, Stephen, for having us on the show. It's been a pleasure to sit and chat with you and play a bit of music.
Can't thank you enough for doing it. Like, you know, and as I say, delighted that I actually got to interview the 4 of you, because I wasn't expecting that at all. Like, you know, so
it's a pleasure.
Lads, I'll let you take the stage. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much.
Each and every one of you. Lads, what about the High Kings? As I said, I'm a fan of them for years, and I'm delighted that they're going to sing a song off their album, which I'm looking forward to hear live again. 10 years later, I'm hearing them sing these songs, and now to actually sing songs off their album. I'll leave it with the High Kings again to finish off tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Okay, well, this is the Dutchman, a song written by a man from Chicago called Mike Smith, who passed away recently. This is a fantastic legacy to leave behind. A beautiful song called The Dutchman. The Dutchman's not the kind of man to keep his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. That's his secret, only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam is golden in the morning, Margaret brings him breakfast. She believes him. Thinks the tulips bloom beneath the snow. He's mad as he can be, but Margaret only sees that sometimes she sees her unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuider Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The Dutchman still wears wooden shoes, his cap and coat are patched with love that Margaret sewed him. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam. He watches tugboats down canals and calls out to them when he thinks he knows the captain. Till Margaret comes to take him home again, through unforgiving streets that trip him though she holds his arm. Sometimes he thinks that he's alone and he calls her name. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuider Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The windmill swirls the winter in, she winds his muffler tighter. They sit in the kitchen, some tea with whiskey keeps away the dew. He sees her for a moment, calls her name, she makes his bed up, humming some old love song. She learned it when the tune was very new. She hums a line or two, they hum together in the night. The Dutchman falls asleep and Margaret blows the candle out. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuider Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret
remembers that for me. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me.
Beautiful Finbarr.
Thank you very much. We have a lively one coming up to you now, all the way from Nova Scotia, Canada. This is a new song from the new album, and Paul sings this absolutely fantastic.
One, two, three.
The sun was setting in the west, the birds were singing on every tree. All nature seemed lying for to rest, but alas, there was no rest for me. I grieve to leave my native land, I grieve to leave my comrades all, and my parents whom I love so dear, and the bonny, bonny lassie that I do adore.
Farewell to Nova Scotia, you sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and dreary be. For when I am far away o'er the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me?
The drums they beat and the wars do alarm. The captain is calling, I must obey. Farewell, farewell to Nova Scotia's charm, for it's early in the morning and they've gone far away.
Farewell to Nova Scotia, you sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and dreary be. Or when I am far away on the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me?
The drums they beat, the wars do alarm. The captain is calling, I must obey. Farewell, farewell to Nova Scotia's charm, for it's early in the morning and they've gone far away.
Farewell to Nova Scotia, you sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and dreary be. For when I am far away o'er the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? Farewell to Nova Scotia, you sea-bound coast. Let your mountains dark and dreary be. For when I am far away on the briny ocean tossed, will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me? Will you ever heave a sigh or a wish for me?
Lovely, Paul. Beautiful done, bud.
Thank you. Beautiful, Paul. Well, this is our final song, everybody. We'd like to say a massive, massive thank you to Stephen once again for having us on the show tonight.
Yes, thank you so much.
And a big thanks to everybody here at the Scientology Community Centre for all the wonderful hospitality and all their help, as per usual. Fantastic.
Thank you.
We're going to finish off with a Dublin song, seeing as we're here in Dublin. And we mentioned already the great Liam Riley, so this is, as always, our tribute to a wonderful, wonderful songwriter who has sadly left us way too soon. But his memory will always live on through his absolutely genius songwriting and amazing melodies. We'll sign off with this one. Thank you so much to everybody watching online, to all Stephen's viewers and the High Kings fans around the world. Thank you. This is Summer in Dublin. Take me away from the city, lead me to where I can be on my own. I wanted to see you, and now that I have, just want to be left alone. I'll always remember your kind words, and I still remember your name. But I've seen you change and turning, and I know that things just won't be the same. And I remember that summer in Dublin, and the Olympians that stink like hell, and the young people walking on Grafton Street, everyone looking so well. I was singing a song I heard somewhere called Rock and Roll Never Forgets, but my heart was smothered by a 46A, the scream of a love lying dead. So I jumped on a bus to Dunphy, stopping up to pick up my guitar, and a drunk on the bus told me how to get rich. I was glad we were going too far. So I'm leaving on Wednesday morning, trying to find a place where I can hear the wind and the birds and the sea on the rocks, and where open roads always appear. And if sometimes I tire of the quiet and I want to walk back up that hill, I just get on the road and I stick out my thumb, 'cause I know for sure he'll be there still. I remember that summer in Dublin, and the Olympians that stink like hell, and the young people walking on Grafton Street, everyone looking so well. Singing a song I heard somewhere called Rock and Roll Never Forgets, but my Hummer was smothered by a 46A, the scream of a low-flying jet. So I jumped on a bus to Dunphy, stopping up to pick up my guitar, and a drunk on the bus told me how to get rich. I was glad we were going too far. I remember that summer in Dublin, I can still see that sunshine in Dublin. Thank you.
Each and every one of you, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. What about it, folks? That's one of the best versions of Summer in Dublin that I've heard. Barbaga could tell themselves. Absolutely fantastic performance from the High Kings. Check out their new album, folks. And don't forget to tune in next week. We have Strings and Things on here at 7 p.m. Same time, same place. Thank you very much and good night.